Hello and welcome back to my knitting channel. My name is Autumn and I'm a knitter and mathematics student from Canada. On this podcast, I follow a typical knitting podcast structure. Start with my finished objects, then works in progress, and any acquisitions or future plans that I have. It's been a while since I recorded an episode. I was planning to record an episode right after exams ended in December, but I got really sick, so sick that I wasn't even able to knit, which is like pretty bad. And then the holidays started and I got busy, and so that's why it's happening now. But that means I have a lot to talk about, a lot to catch you up on. I have 3 finished objects, a few whips, and something new that I'm working on. And I can't wait to share it all with you. Alright, so starting off with finished objects, I'm wearing one today. This is my sweater number 15 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I finished it in, I want to say like early to mid-November. And I had it on my needles since, I want to say May. So it took me like 4 or 5 months to finish. I didn't knit on it a ton during the summer. It was mainly this fall that I finished it up. So I don't know exactly like how many hours or how many days, but that gives you a bit of a time frame for how long it took me. This is once again a pattern by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and one of her, I think, most popular ones. I see a lot of people knitting it over on Instagram, and there are a lot of projects on Ravelry as well. It is a drop shoulder design with all over cabled pattern, and I think it looks really timeless and beautiful. It is knit with a fingering weight yarn held together with a lace weight yarn to make a DK, and is knit on 4.5 needles. I hit gauge on those needles, and so I did what the pattern recommended. I knit mine in Knitting for Olive Merino and Soft Silk Mohair in the color Dusty Petroleum Blue, which you can see on me, but this is what the yarn looks like in its ball form. This is how much that I had left over. I believe I had, I should say I knit the size small, and I had bought 7 of the merino and 6 of the mohair, and this is what I have left over. So just for that, I could have made it a little bit longer, but I was happy with the length, and also I was done knitting it. And so yeah, I'm happy overall with the length. I'm absolutely obsessed with this color. I've gotten so many compliments saying that it matches the color of my eyes, and yeah, I love blue, and this is definitely a really, really beautiful color. I'll talk a little bit more about the construction and kind of the garment in general. Some modifications that I made were making the sleeves, I believe, 2 cable repeats longer. When I had knit the sleeves to pattern and I tried it on, and it was like just below my elbow, so I don't know whose arms are that short. I'm pretty tall, so maybe that contributes to it as well, but I did 2 extra cable repeats on the sleeves, and I could have even done 1 more. Like, the sleeves are a good length, they hit me like at my wrist, but I didn't want them like super long, and I was afraid they would grow a lot with blocking. They grew a bit, but nothing like crazy. So it's probably not something that I'll go back and fix, but just a note. Another thing I did, and I do this on a lot of my knits, is I did a row of purl halfway through the folded collar. I think that helps it like fold down. I know some people also do a couple rows of double knitting to help that, but I just like doing a row of purl. And other than that, I knit it to pattern. Yeah, about the fit, overall I like the fit, but I don't like love it. I knit the size that was recommended for my bust circumference, but I feel like it has like a strange way of like, it hangs weird like around my upper body, and I don't know, it kind of makes me look wider than I am. Like I don't want like a tight fitting sweater, but I don't know, maybe the boxy look isn't right for me. I don't know. Or maybe the drop shoulder is the problem, but I don't know, sometimes I wonder that it makes me look wider than I am. And yeah, just it kind of like hangs odd. But other than that, I really like this pattern, and I really enjoyed working with the yarn. It was my first time knitting for all of Merino and soft silk mohair, and it was just so lovely. They are so soft, and yeah, definitely would purchase this yarn again. I actually have another sweater quantity in a different color, and I'm very excited to knit up with that. Yeah, I think overall, super happy with this. I wear it all the time. It's probably my most worn knits, or my most worn piece that I've knit so far. Maybe just because it's new and I love it. But yeah, it definitely is probably one of my favorites, and I get a lot of wear out of it. And when I tell people that I knit it myself, they are surprised and shocked. So that's a good sign, and that's a good pattern if it looks so timeless and polished. My next finished object I actually don't have with me because it was a gift knit, and so they have been given away and someone else is enjoying them. I don't even think I took a picture of them after I finished them. I might have a picture like pre-blocking, so I'll include that on the screen if I do. If not, just a photo from the pattern will be on the screen as well. These are the crown mittens, and they are a pattern by Pula Knits. I knit these for someone that was mentoring me during my last semester, and kind of as a thank you gift / birthday gift. And so it's not a color that I would normally knit with. Oh, I should show the color. This is the yarn that I used, and so definitely not a color that I would choose for myself, but it was fun to knit and pick out something different. And yeah, it is suggested to knit these mittens with a DK and a mohair held together, but I just knit them in the DK because my local yarn shop was out of the mohair that I would have liked to pair it with. So, and because of the time crunch that I was on, I was just like, whatever, I'll knit them just with the DK and like adjust for gauge if I need to. I did cast on a couple, I think 4 extra stitches, and do some extra repeats when increasing for the thumb, and I just did that by just trying the mitten on as I was working them. I don't exactly know the details of how many extra stitches I ended up with, but it was more because I didn't hit gauge. And then there's a lovely cable pattern on the front of the mittens that was super fun and super addictive to knit. I have had issues in the past of like having a difficult time memorizing the cable pattern charts and having to like look at them a lot. I haven't knit, this is only my second no, that's not true. I knit this was just cabled. I have another sweater that's cabled, so this would have been my 3rd project that has cables in it. And yeah, I found like I didn't need to look at the chart all the time, which was super nice. It was very easy to memorize and be able to like tell and read your work to see where you're at. Yeah, I guess I've shown the yarn, but this is pure Gynt by Sandnes Garn, which is a DK weight 100% Norwegian wool. It is in the color 4672, and it's this like really nice royal purple color. Based on the calculations in the pattern, I bought 3 balls of this yarn, but I definitely could have purchased 2. I used a full ball and then like half a ball, so I still have this one and a bit more. So not sure what I'm gonna do with those, but maybe another pair of mittens for someone else. I don't know if I would wear this. It doesn't really go with my coats or my other winter accessories, but no current plans for this extra yarn, but it'll find a use somewhere, I'm sure. My last finished object is also a pair of mittens, but these ones are for myself and I have them with me. Here they are. They are a little worn. I wear them pretty much every day because it's cold here in Canada. These are loosely based off of a petite knit pattern, the Vienna set, and these are the mittens from that set. I believe it has a scarf in the pattern as well, but I just knit the mittens. Yeah, I followed the amount of stitches you cast on and like the rough like length or like the style of like the long mitten, and also the increased rate for the thumbs, but other than that I didn't really follow anything else. I just kind of tried them on as I went and just kind of did my own thing. So I don't know if they're a perfect representation of what you'll get if you follow the pattern to a T, but this is my version of the Vienna set mittens. I knit them in Alpaca 3 by Isager and in the colorway 33, which I believe is rust, but I could be wrong. All the details about the colors and the patterns will be in the description box below if you're curious about something that I've used. Yeah, I had 2 balls of it and I used pretty much just one and like a little bit from this one, and so I still have a fair amount of this yarn too. This yarn is super cool. It's not like a normal strand of yarn, it's like a chain of, yeah, it's like a chained yarn, and so I thought that was cool. Also, I really liked the color, and I knit them on I think 2.25 millimeter needles or 2 point something. No, I'll put it on the screen what I knit with. I think it was smaller than a US 4. That's all I remember, but I will find out and I will put it on the screen. Oh, I should also mention for the crown mittens, I knit them on a US 4. But anyways, back to these. I have gotten so much wear out of these. Like I said, I wear them pretty much every day and they are so warm and I love them. And despite like they're not a wool, they're just an alpaca, but because the stitches are like so like tight and close together, they keep me very warm. I've worn them up to like -20 and I stay pretty warm in them. So yes, love these, and I feel like maybe I should knit myself a matching hat or something as well. I don't know if this is enough yarn to knit a full hat, but maybe I'll pick some more up so I have a matching set of winter accessories, because I actually don't have that yet. But yeah, these are the Vienna set mittens. Alright, moving on to works in progress. I will show them in, I guess, the order that I've cast them on. So the one I'm about to show has been on the needles since March, but I didn't really knit with it too much over the summer, and then I've recently picked it back up over the holiday break, and so I have some progress to share on it. This is my Sibilla sweater by Cookie the Knitter. It's gotten quite large, but here she is. The ends have not been woven in yet, but that's okay. Front and the back. I don't know if it's shown up on the screen because I don't know where I am here, but both sleeves have been finished, and that is such a relief. I was on Sleeve Island with the first sleeve for so long, and then I finished it early on in the winter break, and then the second sleeve I did in like a week. It just flew off the needles. Something about me like knitting the first sleeve, I don't know how many cable repeats or like how long exactly to knit it, and so I feel like it just drags on and on and on. And then with the second sleeve, I can like count down the number of cable repeats, and it just seems to fly by so quickly. But yeah, thrilled that the sleeves are done, and I've tried it on. They are the right length. And yeah, I guess I'll talk a little bit about the pattern. Like I said, it is a pattern by Cookie the Knitter, and as you've seen, it has lovely cables all over. It's got like a crisscross cable and some really big luxurious cables on the sides, and then that pattern is on the sleeves as well. And then on like the side sections and the backs of the sleeves, we just have a moss stitch, so like knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, and then like the opposite the next row. And that's pretty fun to do. I like all like the little bubblies. It's pretty fun. And then I've got the folded down collar already knit on, and then on the sleeves we have a decent section of ribbing. I think it called to do the ribbing on US 6, I want to say, but my US 6 needle was in use, and also I need to replace it. It is so like kinked and like irritating to work with doing magic loop, so instead I just knit the sleeve ribbing on US 7 or 4.5 millimeter needles, because I have a shorty, like a Chiago shorty in that needle size, and it was so much easier to knit. And honestly, you can't really tell. I also did reduce the stitches. I think I took probably like 8 to 10 stitches that, how do I say it? Like I knit two together periodically throughout when I was switching to the ribbing, and so I probably reduced the circumference by like 8 to 10 stitches on both, and that helped like cinch it in. I knit one of the cuffs without doing that, and it kind of was just like straight, and I didn't really like that. I wanted it to cinch in a little bit, and so I ripped it back and reduced some stitches, and I like this a lot more. I think if you had just knit on the US 6 like suggested in the pattern, you might not have run into this issue, but I didn't want to knit on that needle. So yeah. I am knitting this with Drops Lima, held together with Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. I have them here. This is the Lima, and then this is the Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. The Lima is a combination of wool and alpaca, I think 65% wool and 35% alpaca, and then the Brushed Alpaca Silk is made up of 77% alpaca and 23% silk, and is a little bit thicker than your like traditional mohair, like from Knitting for Olive or like Tynn silk mohair. But I really like working with it. It is so soft, and I'm not sure if I prefer it to mohair, but I had a bit of an irritation to mohair early in my knitting journey, and then I bought quite a bit of this brushed alpaca silk, and so I'm still working through it and enjoying working with it as well. Yeah, although there is less meterage in these balls. I think it only has 140 meters, whereas like a Knitting for Olive ball of mohair will have like 200 or like 212, something like that. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I am knitting this in a size medium, which is one size larger than is suggested for my bust circumference, but hoping to get a little bit of an oversized look. I'm knitting it on US 9 needles or 5.5 millimeter needles, which is what the pattern recommends, and that's what I got gauge on. And yeah, what else to say? This was my priority over the winter break for a lot of it, and my intention was that I would continue making it my priority in the new year to try and get this done so I can wear it at least once or twice before the weather gets too warm in like April and May. But something else has come up that I am like speedily knitting, and so this has once again been pushed aside for something else. Yeah, my goal is to get it done before March, and so it takes me less than a year because I don't know, I feel like it's been very enjoyable to knit, but I am ready to have it in my wardrobe. Oh, one other thing I will say about the cables, this is the cable pattern, or this is the sweater that was actually my first cable pattern sweater, and the one that I don't really have the chart memorized for. Something about it I find hard to read my work, especially in like this middle section here of like when to go under and when to go over for like the crisscross thing, and so I've always knit it with just the chart in front of me, which is fine. But for the second sleeve, I've knitted it so much that I eventually got to the point where I like knew where I was, and I was hoping I would be able to continue that and continue working on it, but we'll see when I have a chance to finish off the body whether I will need the chart or not. But I feel like I'm making progress and learning how to read my work more, and so that's been really fun and rewarding. But yeah, hopefully we'll be done soon because I can't wait to wear it and would hate to have to wait until next fall because it is a super thick and warm sweater. So goal is to get it done before March. Yes, okay, moving on. Alright, so the next work in progress that I'm going to share is something that I cast on in like September and October, and was definitely planning on having it done before now because it is a winter accessory. This is the Harris hood by Coco Amore Knitwear. As you can see, it's almost done. So there is the hood. Don't mind all of the ends that have not been dealt with, and it's kind of looking a little wrinkly. It was up in my like whip bag area, but that is a hood. It is all over stockinette hood or balaclava, and then it's got a 1x1 ribbed edge on the bottom, and then the last thing that I haven't done yet is the 1x1 like folded edge around like where your face is. It is suggested to knit with a DK and a lace to get a worsted weight yarn, and has a gauge of 17 stitches and knit on 5mm needles. I am knitting it on 5mm needles, but I'm knitting it with a mystery yarn. This is a wool yarn that I thrifted from a thrift store, and so I don't really know how much of it I have or what the true composition is. I'm guessing it's a high percentage of wool just based on the feeling of it, but I don't really know what it is. And then I'm holding it with a mohair that I don't have with me right now. It is somewhere in my stash of yarn, but I believe it's called Atenea by Katia Concept, something like that. I will put it up on the screen because I don't remember exactly, but it's just like a white lace weight mohair-y thing. Yeah, since I'm knitting it not with the recommended weight of yarn, this is a little bit heavier than a DK. I worry that it's not gonna have like that drapey look, but we'll see once I block it and stuff. The reason I haven't finished it, because it really wouldn't take me that long to pick up all the stitches and knit the little thing or like knit the ribbing around the face, is because I'm not in love with the rough cast off I did on the bottom edge. It was late at night and I was just wanting to get something done, and so I just did like, I don't even know what it's called when you just like knit and then like put the stitches over, but I did that very lazy cast off and I don't love the look of it. I recognize that it'll normally be like tucked inside a coat or something and people won't probably see it, but I wish I had just taken the time to do a nice Italian cast off, or even like Jenny's surprisingly stretchy cast off I think is also good for 1x1 rib. So yeah, and now I'm just procrastinating having to rip that back and recast off in a nicer way. But other than that, it is almost done. Yeah, I'm not sure if I am like 100% in love, not with the pattern. The pattern is super clear and very easy to understand. I just don't know if I will see myself wearing a hood or a balaclava. I feel like they were kind of a trend that I saw and I got super excited about and thought would be cute, but now I'm not so sure. So maybe that's another reason why this isn't done yet, is because I'm not really sure how much wear I will get out of it. So yeah, we will see if / when I finish this project and if I get any wear out of it. Yeah, but that is the Harris hood by Coco Amore Knitwear. My next work in progress is something that I've been seeing all over Instagram and Ravelry. I feel like a lot of people have knitted as like their Christmas sweater or just a good winter sweater, and I am also on board with that. I think it's a wonderful pattern. This is the Harriet sweater by Lee Knits. If I can unravel this. But yeah, super popular pattern right now. I'm sure you have, yeah, super popular pattern right now. I'm sure you've seen it before. And yeah, this is my version of it. My main color, the dark gray, is Estelle Organic Worseted in the color Charcoal. And then my contrast color is BC Garn Semilla Melange, and I forget what colorway it is, but I have a little ball of it right here. And then this is my Estelle Organic Worseted. Yeah, the pattern also calls for a third color to kind of highlight, I think it's in the flowers and then also somewhere else, but I am choosing not to do that. I had enough of the Semilla Melange to just knit just with that as my contrast color, and I'm okay with that decision. Although some of the samples on Ravelry that do use a third color look really, really nice as well. This is quite an oversized design, recommended to have 25 to 40 centimeters of positive ease. I am knitting mine slightly off gauge and will probably get 20 centimeters of positive ease, which is kind of what I wanted. I'm knitting a size medium to get 20 centimeters of positive ease, so something like that'll fit on the smaller side of a size small. It is, I'm actually not 100% sure what the construction is. You start by casting on stitches for the back of the neck and then work like small shoulder pieces and then do some of the front work as well, and then kind of move into a raglan. And so it's kind of got these like little shoulders kind of peeking out right now with a bit of color work on them, and then you cast off stitches for the sleeves like you would in a raglan and work down the body. I did most of the body color work while on vacation. It was kind of my mindless knit when visiting with family and things, and not super mindless when you're doing color work, but it was mindless enough to get a lot of work done on it, which was really great and kind of put me in the festive mood. I also knit most of like the upper gray portion without the color work in some of my university classes because it was truly mindless and I didn't have to take notes if we were doing like discussion and things like that. And so that's another way where I get some extra knitting time in, and I also got quite a few comments and got to have some conversations about knitting with some of my peers, which is pretty fun as well. After this I will, I've obviously not finished the body, but as I do with a lot of my knits, I will do a significant portion of the body and then finish the sleeves to make sure that they are long enough and things like that, and then go back and use the rest of the yarn to finish the body. I'm not too worried about running out of yarn with this project because the fit and like length is so exaggerated and extra, but it's, I don't know, it's still what I'm going to do just to make sure that the sleeves are what I want before finishing off the body. The reason that this sweater isn't still a work in progress or doesn't have a needle in it is because I needed that needle for my next whip that I will share. But yeah, I'm knitting this on a US 6 or 4mm needle, which is what the pattern recommends, but my gauge is a little off because I'm not holding these with a mohair. Despite this being called a worsted, it's quite thin actually. And then the Semilla Melange is even thinner, definitely a true fingering weight yarn, but I didn't want to, I didn't want to buy a mohair on a student budget, and I thought I had enough yarn to adjust my size to make up for the fact that I was off gauge, so I was happy to do that. Overall, really enjoying this pattern and this work. My only concern and issue is kind of at the join of the sleeves. It doesn't look, kind of looks bumpy or not even. Especially at this point right here where it's like a little pucker, and so I'm not sure if that's going to be able to be fixed with blocking or if my sleeves are just going to look odd. I haven't done a mid-project block on this. I am planning on doing that though, just to make sure that I don't have to rip back parts of these sleeves and fix that. It's on the other side as well, just kind of a little pucker, or where the sleeve, it doesn't look continuous. It looks obvious that the sleeve has been put in kind of at the back as well. There is some puckering and just not looking super smooth. So definitely hoping that a mid-project block will fix that and put my worries aside, because I would really hate to have to deal with that and undo that and figure out, actually I don't even know how I would fix that, but I'm not going to, because the blocking will fix all of it, is my plan. But yeah, I absolutely love knitting color work. This has been super, super fun, and there's not a lot of places where you have to catch your floats. Most of these are pretty, only 3 or 4 or 2 stitches apart. I only catch floats if it's 5 or 6 or more, because I'm lazy. But yeah, I didn't have to catch a lot of floats, which I really, really like. But yeah, the color work is addicting, and I'm actually looking forward to knitting the sleeves, because that means I get to do more color work knitting, and it's been so fun so far. A modification that I think I'm gonna make is the neck. It calls for a really turtle-y funnel neck. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that, just because this yarn is a little bit rustic, a little bit scratchy, and I don't want my neck to get irritated or to be uncomfortable while wearing it. So I think I will just do maybe a thick folded, a long, not super long, but a decent folded collar on it, and not the funnel neck. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about my Harriet sweater, but really enjoying it, and definitely worth all the hype that it is getting online right now. I'm going to quickly talk about an acquisition because it relates to my last work in progress that I'm going to talk about, and so it doesn't really make sense to talk about the project before talking about the acquisition. So I meant to knit something for my mom this Christmas, but after the exam season and getting sick, it just didn't end up happening. I really wanted to knit her a pair of mittens, but then after actually just talking to her at Christmas, she said she maybe was more interested in a slipover of some sort, and so looked on Ravelry with her and narrowed kind of down what she liked, and she ended up picking out a very nice cabled like slipover pattern, and so I'm working on knitting that for her for a late Christmas present. So she really wanted it in a brown color, and so I went to my local yarn shop and picked up some yarn for this. This is no longer in its skein, but this is Cascade 220, and this is the color, I think, carob brown, and it is 1010. Here is the label as well. It is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. It comes in 100 gram skeins, and you get 200 meters. So a true DK weight yarn. What else do we have? Yeah, I think that's all the important information. This is my first time knitting with Cascade 220, and it is definitely one of the more like easily accessible yarns to me in Canada and with access to the yarn stores around me. And so definitely something that I will be picking up and working with in the future. I really enjoyed it so far, and there is a decent selection of colors at my local yarn store. So definitely something that I will be working with in the future. And then to pair with it, I also picked up Tynn Mohair by Sandnes Garn. This is in the color Brown Sugar, and its number is 3073. Yeah, they match really, really nicely, and kind of lightens it up and adds like that little shine and fuzz that I really, really like. Also, my first time working with Tynn Mohair, and I've really enjoyed it so far. I haven't had any irritation in my hands, and the knitted project seems really soft and really wearable. It is a slip over, so you'll be wearing it like over a shirt or a blouse or something, so probably won't be in a lot of contact with your skin, but definitely something that I will pick up in the future because it is at my local yarn store and they have so many colors of it. Yeah, I really, really like it. Oh, I should say what it's made out of. 57% mohair, 28% silk, and 15% wool, and this is a 25 meter ball, and we get 212 meters. So now to talk about the actual project. This is the, I'm all tangled, oh my gosh. Okay, this is what I have so far. And then it looks the same on the back. This is the Holman slipover by Strika Cafe. This is a knitted slipover worked from the bottom up, as you can tell. It is knitted with a DK and a lace weight held together to get the gauge of 18 stitches over 10 centimeters, and I think 18 stitches and 24 rows. And yeah, you work from the bottom up, and then we'll separate for front and back, knit those panels, and then knit them together at the top, and then do ribbing along the armholes and the neck. I believe it is 2x2 ribbing to match the bottom, which is also a 2x2 rib, which is really nice. It is knitted on US 8 needles or 5mm, and that's what I got gauge on, so that's what I'm using as well. Yeah, and it's a pretty size inclusive pattern, sizes from extra small to 4XL, which is good to see. I've been working on this for about a week, maybe 10 days, and this is how much progress I have, which is a lot for me. I've been knitting on it a lot, and it's been really, really addicting. The cable pattern is all charted, which I do have like printed off and I follow, but it's pretty intuitive, and I think with all of the cabling that I've been doing lately, I've gotten better at reading my work and knowing kind of where I'm at. And so yeah, I've not been able to put this down, partly because I want to get it done as soon as possible, but also because it has been so addicting to knit. So yeah, you have your cabled pieces at the front and the back that are matching, they're the same, and then on the sides you do, is it double moss stitch or seed stitch when you have like two knit purl rows and then two purl knit. But yeah, definitely on my Sibilla sweater it is just the one row repeats of that, and this is the double version, and I think I might like this one, the look of this even better. Looks really cute. But yeah, I am super excited to get this done and give it to my mom. I'm hoping to have it done by the next time that I film a podcast, and so there is one finished object you can count on. The only thing that might prevent me from doing that is that I only have, I was only able to buy 2 skeins of my Cascade 220 because my yarn store was out of this color and I needed 3. So assuming they get it back very soon, I'll be able to finish that. If not, I will just wait for it to come in and then finish it up. But yeah, I bought 3 skeins of Cascade 220 and then also 3 balls of Tynn silk mohair. So not bad for a slipover. I should also say I'm knitting this in the size small, which is the second size. And so if you're knitting a different size, you'll obviously need a different amount of yarn, but I thought that was a pretty fair amount of yarn for a beautiful slipover like this. And I might knit myself one after because it is so cute and so fun. But yeah, those are all of my finished objects, my works in progress, and my one acquisition. Thank you so much if you are still around at this part of the video. I really appreciate it. I've had so much fun sharing all of the things I've been working on and would love to hear what you've been knitting on while watching this video, or something you've been working on over the holiday break as well, or even what you have planned up for this new year of knitting. But yeah, thank you so much once again. Hopefully you got some knitting or crafting done while hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.